Welcome to Ask the Professor. I'm your host, Professor Ben, and we get together live every Wednesday at 11:45 Eastern to talk about all things business, influence, sales, all the challenges that are out there in the business world. We are here for you, and we are joined by almost now a regular co-host, CEO of Blue Outcomes, and amazing change expert, Allison Cummins. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Always a great show when Allison's on there. And of course, we've got Ari Justice as well, which keeps this thing glued together, duct taped together sometimes, making it work. Ari, thank you for all that you're doing to keep us on track and pulling it all together. So Ari is also on the show. You're on the show every week, Ari. So thank you for that. That's great. That's awesome. And so we are coming back to hopefully, Allison, wrap up our conversation on leading change and all the challenges that come through or just come out from leading change in a team, whether it's a high growth situation, if it is a pivot for survival, whatever happens in between all those, change is inevitable. And it's happening a lot. It's happening a lot right now. So, Allison, I know we talked about some great things in the weeks past on this. Ari, where can our listeners find our previous shows so they can get caught up on everything we've been talking about?
Yeah, so you can either visit our LinkedIn page and watch the lives over there, or you can visit our website at mybenchmarktraining.com/resources/ask the professor, and you can watch all of the good information that Allison and Ben has given us in the past.
Heck yes, thank you. And there's in those episodes, you're going to find powerful tools that you can use like today. Like you watch the show and you can implement it right now. So go check those out. We talked about the 8 things to not do when you're implementing a change initiative on your team. And you got to make sure you stay true to those things. In fact, Ari, if we have those right now, let's put them up so people at least can know what not to do. We also covered, I think we covered 1 through 6 of all of the things to do in a change initiative, and we're going to finalize 7 and 8. Allison, I'm going to put you on the spot here for these 8 things to not do. You probably had time to see them in action in other companies and your clients' companies. We won't name any names, but what sticks out? What is something that you want to just tell the world, hey, do not do one of these 8? Which one sticks out?
I think the biggest reasons why projects fail is number 4, that under communicate. There is no such thing as too much information. Now you have to put it in the right context for the right people, but if you make this change in a black box, you are never going to get adoption. People are going to get scared and they're going to leave. So clear communication is critical to transformations.
Amen to that too. And in the research, you see there's like usually it's under communicated by like 1,000 because we feel like we've said it so much. We've been thinking about it as leaders. And it turns out that it's been rattling around in our head 24 hours a day, but we're not communicating it clearly to the rest of the team. So they feel like they're in the dark. It's 2 very opposing situations going on at the same time.
Absolutely. But we got to get back to this list. We need to get through the last 2. I have been asked so many times, hey, are you and Professor Ben going to finish this? I tell them, yes, we are going to do it.
So it sounds like you've made a promise that we've got to make sure we can keep today. So without further ado, let's jump into number 7 out of 8, build up to more significant changes. And I'm going to hand it to you right out of the gate here, Allison, because you got a lot to say on this one. Why is this one important for leaders to do when they're initiating change?
This is so important because, step 6, we talked about those micro goals and making sure we're setting those milestones, but using those milestones as a bigger platform to continue that momentum is critical because now you get people excited and they're ready to just move forward with this change. And those changes can grow in terms of like your milestone can be really small at first and ease them into what they're going to be doing. And now you can achieve larger and greater things as you move through your entire project timeline.
So, Allison, what you're saying is really here, because sometimes as leaders, we don't want to start small, right? Like, hey, this is a big company. I've got big dreams and big visions. And so we're going to go do big things. And that can scare people away. It also,
It's so overwhelming.
yeah, oh my gosh, sets them up for failure. Something that really comes to mind here is when teams start to implement scorecards. Scorecards are very important. It's a great way to measure your success, to know if you're winning or not. I mean, there's so many valuable things when it comes to implementing scorecards for your team. Here's the scary part. To your point here, Allison, about just build up to more significant changes. Sometimes we want the scorecard to be this big, sophisticated machine that covers every metric in the world. We could even think of. We got Power BI running it, and if you go from never using scorecards to using this sophisticated machine,
Mhm.
team up.
Absolutely. It is so overwhelming because not only are you changing maybe the way they're working, but you're also asking them to, learn a new skill on top of it because maybe they are responsible for creating that Power BI dashboard.
Yes.
Have they ever done that before? Probably not. So, setting them up for success early on, it shows the team that you are taking them on a journey of growth together.
That's a really important part. We're doing this together. We're in it to win it together. And it's okay if we go from 0 to 1 before we go from 0 to 10, right?
Mhm.
Like we just got to take those small steps. So I think that's a really important one. And I see teams, I see again, leaders get excited about the big possibilities and what could happen. And the team is just not ready for that. So instead of just failing and not making big things happen, let's make small things happen and build up to it, and we can do it quickly, which is cool.
And just to be clear, it's not that you can't share your big vision. Share your big vision because let everybody
Yeah.
get excited about it, but teach them and show them that, hey, we're not going to do this overnight. This is going to be a journey when we are going to go on it together. So share the vision for sure, but take and celebrate those little milestones in between.
Amen to that too. So for those of you that are taking notes, taking notes as you're listening to these types of podcasts is important because you don't want just to get this information in your head and then never actually do anything with it. So when you're taking notes, that's a big one right here is we're going to start change. Change is necessary. We're going to start small and we're going to build up to it. It's really good. If we get to number 8, that means we've fulfilled your promise to all your people, Allison. So let's get to number 8. And this is an important one too, which is anchor the change. Right? Let's not start. I'll stick with scorecards because it's top of mind. Let's not start using scorecards because we have to. And 6 weeks later, we fizzle out and it's no longer part of our way of doing things. So anchoring that change is huge. What do you see with this one?
Oh, we see this all of the time. Um, you know, Companies invest so much in maybe a new technology or a new process like scorecards, and there is no sustainability because they did not integrate it into their new culture. They didn't create a culture of change. There was no expectation of accountability. So there's no adoption. So all of that hard work that you did leading up to this is gone, and it happens very quickly. It happens so on the slide, and you don't even realize it, particularly for technology implementations. If you are not adopting it and making it as part, and anchoring that change with some KPIs or touch bases, then they're going to create this shadow IT of because they want to get their job done. And so they're going to create these side processes that no one knows about. And all of that hard work is for nothing. So this is incredibly important.
Yes, yeah. All of that hard work is for nothing. We do not want to do that, right? We're taking all these steps to change our culture, change our team, change where we're doing things, and then now we're going back to the old way. That is not a recipe for success. And then this formalize new processes, right? That really sticks out. So we want to make sure, okay, we'll stick with scorecards if we want to talk about that, but it could be any initiative. let's formalize the way that we utilize this new technology or this new process or this new way of communicating with our stakeholders, right? We have to have those formal processes. And that always makes me think of when you see kids in the classroom, right? Think of like middle school kids in the classroom. They are just like all over the place, right? ADHD, bouncing off the walls. I mean, just got all this energy. And then you see them in their sport, or you see them in chess club or Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, whatever it is. And you realize like, wow, they're following the formal process to a T. That same student that was spinning around in the classroom is at the chessboard and all the pieces are doing what they're supposed to be doing, is on the soccer field and she's following all the rules, has all the structure. So when you formalize processes as humans, we gravitate towards that. Even if we are ADHD, we gravitate towards that, and it helps us make this the new norm. There's so much opportunity there.
Yeah, and using your scorecard example, because I love that, is now as a leader, what do you do with that? Like, are you actually reviewing those scorecards? Are you doing something with it and then communicating? I mean, that's part of that, changing the culture and the adoption. So, because you don't want your team members to feel like they're just filling this out just because, to check a box. What are you doing with it? Are you actioning it later?
Absolutely. There's got to be a plan for it. And you made me think of something when you said makes our team think, okay, here we go, another change. There's also change fatigue. Like change fatigue is real. And if we're changing something without a formalized process, without a way to measure it and hold people accountable, when that fizzles out and we throw another change, another new tool, another new whatever, now we get from the team, here we go again, right? What's the flavor of the week? What's the little thing that's happening? And there's nothing that's sticking and keeping it part of the formal process. So as leaders, again, the note to take right now is make sure that we're not just throwing things out for the week or the day or the month that is the change, the flavor of the day, right? If we're making this change, we're starting slow and then we're formalizing it and we're ingraining it into our culture. We're not just throwing it out to see what happens.
Yes. And this is where, I talk a lot about creating, a change advocate, like a change group. Who are your change leaders? And this is a really great space to keep those change agents there beyond the change, because they become your eyes and ears when people are starting to feel that change fatigue. They are going to be the first ones to communicate that to you, and you can use them as a sounding board of like, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're thinking of it. What do you think the impact is going to be? Or they can bring you information of like, hey, this is really what we are looking for. We want this change to happen. Is this something that you can do? And I think, keeping that change community front and center and making them an active part of your business will really help create an entire culture of change.
Change champions, man, you
Love
just
it.
struck a nerve right there. It's so important. In fact, I think it was number 2, right, is lack of ownership in leaders and influencers. The number 2 reason why change fails. And that's where the change champions come in. And you brought something up really important here. Thank you, Ari, for that visual there. Yeah, it is number 2. So the change champions are not just shoving change down the throat of everybody. They're a two-way communicator, right? They're also coming back to you and reporting like, hey, where are people getting fatigued? Where are things working really well? What are some tweaks that we can do? Those change champions are sharing information in 2 directions. And Allison, that's a huge point. I absolutely love that. Ari, I think we've got a couple questions to see if we can't get to 1 or 2 of them today. Let's see what we've got on here. So you've talked about growth on the show. Yes, we have growth and change. Growth scares salespeople. Okay,
this is true. Everyone.
It does. Clearly, this came from a salesperson because they're like, it only scares us. But okay, that makes sense. And then, can you please address the challenges that the sales team sees when there's a lot of growth in your company? So I like how this is really focused here on growth specifically. So growth that's a great thing, right? Our company is growing. There's going to be more opportunities for me as the company grows, for all of us as the company grows. But hold on a second. There's a lot of change that's happening at the same time, right? And change is always going to be scary for us. So thinking of what are some changes we're going to see when the company's growing really fast? Some stuff that comes to mind for me, as I've seen that in my companies, is the standards start to get a little bit higher. Have you seen that before, Allison? Where it's
Very
like,
much.
we used to all be,
No.
from a sales team perspective, we were all happy with, throw a number out there, with $10,000 a week in sales, or $100,000 a week in sales as a team. Okay, that was great. But now someone new came in and we're raising the bar. We opened up a new territory and the numbers are higher. We're investing in more in the team, so we've got to cover our margins. So standards are now raised, and that's a really scary thing that happens for salespeople, especially if they've been on the team for a long time. Right? Hey, I used to be the superstar, and now somebody new's coming in, and they're the superstar. If I may, that makes me think of, have you guys heard of this? For a long time, about 2,000 years, from the time the Olympics came in, it was believed that humans cannot run faster than a 4-minute mile. Have you guys heard this before? No, okay, yes, okay. So for a long time, again, about 2,000 years, there was never a human that was tracked, at least, and measured, that could run faster than a 4-minute mile. And about, I think it was in the 60s, maybe 50s even, somebody by the name of Roger Bannister broke that misbelief, right? He ran a mile in like 3 minutes, 59 seconds and something. Okay. And so he broke this. He's the new guy that came in with the growth and change of the company. And nobody was able to do that, right? For 2,000 years. Well, as soon as he broke that record, it wasn't even 2 months later before dozens of people started beating his record. That breaking that 4-minute barrier became part of the norm for people to be able to do that. And that's what happens in our companies when we're growing and we're changing. We think we're stuck in our ways, and all of a sudden we realize there's so much more we're capable of if we just embrace it.
Yeah, I think sometimes people, because we are creatures of habit, sometimes we just need to see that it's possible. And then that will help propel everybody else into being like, oh yeah, totally. We got this. We can do it. And so we just need to have like that leader who's going to do it first.
That is 100% true, right? So it makes you think of part of the first step so to answer this question too, is like, let's address those challenges. So first thing we got to address is just what Allison said. Just know that we can achieve the new standards, right? We are capable of a lot more. And as leaders, what we need to do is create an environment with psychological trust, right? Where people can just raise their hand and go, I don't know if I can run a mile under 4 minutes, guys. Like, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can hit this new quota, if I can hit this new standard. And then we start sharing ideas of what we need to do to get there. And we start to realize that you're not the only person on the team that feels this way. And it's not just about venting your frustrations, right? That's part of it. But then it's like, okay, as a team, let's solve for these concerns. Let's bring solutions to the table as a team so we can meet this new standard that's coming with our growth.
Absolutely.
So,
And part of that is that disc, leveraging other, like everybody's disc profile, so we can create a more, to that, that psychological safety of how can we do this together? Because it is going to be a challenge. We're capable of doing it, but if we do it together, how can we collaborate and raise each other up throughout the process?
Oh man, you just brought up, I know Ari's ears perked up. You just brought up disc, Allison. It's on now. It is on. Yeah. So everyone's going to, again, going back to this question, everyone's going to feel different about this growth, right? Thinking of the S styles might say, whoa, guys, we can't change things up that much, right? And the D styles are going, what have you been waiting for? Let's go. Let's move faster. C styles are calculating it. And I styles are trying to keep the team excited about moving forward. And there's so much more depth to that as well, too. And part of that's going to be, part of the next step here is embrace the why. right? So to answer this question here, as the team is growing and things are starting to look different, as a leader, let's help the team understand the why behind these types of changes, why the growth is so important. And what a lot of people sometimes forget is that standing still is actually more dangerous than going forward with change.
Absolutely. We never want to be complacent. We always want to strive for that growth in everything that we do. Like, I think that's human nature. But if we continue to move forward together and, as leaders, let's reiterate what's in it for our team. Like, how is this going to achieve our next goal? And bringing in that culture, that change culture, it'll be easier for the next one. The first one's going to be tricky. The first one's going to be a challenge, but every new change that happens going forward, it's going to get a little easier. I promise.
Hey, I'm watching our time, Allison. What you just said, let's pick up on this, right? Let's pick up on change fatigue does not have to happen, right? To your point, if you do it right in these small increments in the beginning, people start to get excited about change, even down the road, right? When we're changing things again. So as leaders, we don't have to live with change fatigue in our team. It's up to us to do it right. And I think that's a great place to pick back up next time we get you on the show again. Allison, what do you think?
I love it. Let's do it.
Oh, let's do it. And did we fulfill your promise to all of your
did.
network?
Thank you so much.
Yes, very, very good. Guys, thank you everyone for joining in. I hope you took some good notes. If this is your first episode, go back and check out the other ones with Allison as our guest when we do address leading your team through the difficulties of change. And with that, Ari, I think we are not on next week because we've got the Thanksgiving holiday. Is that right?
That is correct. We're taking a little break, but don't worry, we're back on the next week.
We're back on the 3rd, December 3rd. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, that is fantastic news. So everybody enjoy a little bit of week of R&R, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Let's hit that music. Thanks, everyone.